Swapping out pickups on your guitar can be a super cost-effective way to drastically change your tone. And in this case, I've got my Fender JV Modified here with pure vintage 64 pickups. And I also have my Psalm series from 7th Day Guitar with Lambertone Blondies in them. And in this video, I want to do a quick shootout between these two different pickups. Now, I know that these are going to be two different guitars, so it is not a perfect comparison. However, check out this video from Jim Lil right here, which actually shows that the biggest difference in your pickup tone actually comes from pickup height. And in this case, I've set both pickups at the same pickup height to get the most accurate picture of our tone as we can. Let's hear some sound samples. Of course, both of these pickups sound amazing, but I think they definitely have their strong suits. And in this case, the pure 64 vintage pickups from Fender are going to be exactly that. They are going to be a 60s replica of one of the most sought after teletones in all of history. On Fender's website, they describe these pickups as having moderate output, and they're going to have a good amount of tele-twang, but they're going to be suitable for a wide range of different musical styles. And this is where I think that 60s style really shines. Now, the Fender pickups are going to have 7.4 thousand ohms of resistance in the neck position, and then 6,000 in the bridge, and they're both going to have Alnico 5 magnets. And in my opinion, these pickups are really fantastic. They're gonna have all of that traditional tele twang. They're gonna have a nice push mid-range. They break up really great, but they still have a ton of clarity like you would expect from a Telecaster pickup. And to me, this is kind of what I think of when I think of that Telecaster sound. It's got a really fat neck position where you can get that quack and you can get the spank you want, but it still almost sounds like a neck position of a Strat. That middle position is clear and articulate, and that bridge is just fat, and it sounds like a big Les Paul. And with the pure vintage pickups being $150 for a set, I think you can drastically improve your tone for a pretty reasonable price. Especially if you have a Squier or a Made in Mexico guitar and you feel like the pickups are a little lackluster, I definitely recommend these pure vintage pickups. Now Now, the Lambertone Blondies are some of my all-time favorite pickups, and it's probably because they're a bit more scooped in the mid-range, and they take more of a modern flair on that traditional telly sound. They can handle all of the spank, and they still have tons of twang, but they're going to be able to handle anything you throw at them, especially a ton of reverb and delay. And as somebody that plays a lot of worship music, I really appreciate that. And as somebody who is affiliated with Lambertones, I've had multiple guitars with the Blondies in them, and I've always been super impressed, and I feel like they really help the guitar come to life. And they're also built and designed with the praise and worship guitarist in mind. However, with that said, having my JV modified with those pure vintage pickups, I think they're a really great complement to the Blondies. They both sound amazing, and I really appreciate them both for different contexts. Now, one thing that's going to be a little different for the Blondies versus the pure vintage pickups is the Blondies are going to be made with Alnico 3 magnets in the neck, and then Alnico 5 magnets in the bridge. And then you're going to have a little lower output at 5.84 thousand DCR in the neck, and then in the bridge, you're going to have 7.75 thousand DCR. And to make that information practical, that's going to mean that your neck position is going to be really articulate and clean, where your bridge position is going to be a little bit hotter, and it's going to still have that bite and twang that you would want. But if you want to jump into a solo, you're going to have slightly higher output and be able to take on a little bit more gain in that bridge position. Now, one other thing that I like about Lambertone products is Curtis is super mindful when he designs them to create it where you don't have a huge disparity in volume when you switch between your neck and your bridge position. And in this case, that's true for the Blondies as well. Now, I'd say the biggest caveat to the Blondies is they're going to be more expensive than the pure vintage pickups. For a brand new set, they're $250. I do have a 10% off link down in the description below, which helps support the channel if you are interested, but there is definitely a price difference between these two pickups. Now, with all of that said, let's ask this final question, and that is, which of these pickups are right for you? Ideal world, I'd probably recommend both sets of pickups, but I understand how that's a luxury. Not everybody has multiple tellies just sitting around. So in this case, if you're wanting that traditional telly twang, that kind of classic rock sound, if you play a lot of country, I'd recommend the pure vintage pickups. And in my opinion, the vintage telly pickups are fantastic. They sound great, they've got a ton of character, and they can really transform your tone. And for around 150 bucks new or 100 bucks used, I think it's a no-brainer. Now, if you want something a bit more modern, more compressed, but still able to handle a ton of reverb, delay, and overdrive, and really anything you throw at it, I'd recommend the Blondies. Like I've mentioned a few times throughout this video, one great thing about the Blondies is that they are articulate and really well defined no matter what you throw at them. And they also have a super cool neck pickup, which is like a grill that you can get that I do think kind of improves the neck position and removes some of that traditional muddiness you get from a telly neck. Now, one other consideration, if you are wanting to do something like a 4-way wiring harness where you will be able to get both your neck and your bridge position in parallel and series, you can get some super cool tones, but you're only going to be able to do that with the Blondies. because you have the ability to order it with 3-wire configuration where you don't have the ability to do that with the pure vintage pickups. If you're sold on the Blondies, check out the description down and in the link below for my affiliate link. You definitely help the channel out. And I've also got another video on the Blondies for more tone samples right here.